Arkham City always felt closer to a horror game than a superhero game, even if most people don't talk about it that way. Whenever I think back on it, the first thing that comes to mind isn't the combat or the boss fights, it's the atmosphere, this heavy, cold feeling that hangs over every street, every rooftop and alley. There's this sense that the city doesn't want you there, and the deeper you go in, the more you start to feel like you're exploring something haunted.
He was stealing supplies, anesthetics mostly. He used them when he cut his own face off. I found him. He was sitting in the corner, laughing. His face was missing.
Everything looks washed out, and there's a certain isolated, almost post-apocalyptic vibe. I mean, the whole place is surrounded by walls that will kill you if you get too close, but the city itself is in a state of total chaos. The snowfall drifting through broken neon signs, the sound of prisoners yelling at each other in the dark, like they've already accepted they won't make it out, or the way the streets feel empty even when there are people on them. Arkham City has this feeling of a place that wasn't meant to exist, but somehow ended up becoming the most honest reflection of Gotham, a giant mistake sealed behind concrete and left to rot.
Batman. The critics call it spectacular, says Gannett Newspapers. Gene Shalit says Jack Nicholson is colossal. CBS TV says it's a terrific time at the movies. And Rolling Stone magazine declares it a triumph. You can't take your eyes off it. Who are you? I'm Batman.
Some of the story hits even heavier when you pay attention to the tone. Joker is slowly dying, Hugo Strange is watching everything like some kind of cold overseer, political prisoners getting dragged through snow by gangs who have lost any sense of control. It all feels bleak in a very grounded way, almost like Urban Decay taken to an extreme. The game always leaned more into the kind of atmosphere you'd expect in a psychological horror game or a dark sci-fi thriller from the 80s.
Surprise! Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
I think the tone becomes clearest in the quieter moments. The world always feels one step away from eating you alive. Even Batman, who usually feels larger than life, comes off more vulnerable and worn down in this game. Like the city has been draining him since the moment he arrived.
From this moment on, you are no longer part of the society that you have shown no respect for.
I'm listening.
Is someone feeling a little down?
Enough from the clown!
The whole place feels poisonous. Every district carries its own kind of sickness. Even the color palette leans into that bleakness. Neon lights, cold blues, sickly greens, dim yellows from street lights that look like they're about to burn out. At times, the game has this dark 80s feel that you get in movies such as Escape from New York.
Imprisoned behind these walls, gang leaders are fighting a bloody war in the middle of our once great city. Every inmate from Arkham Asylum and Blackgate Prison has been relocated to this facility.
New York, 1997. The entire city is a walled maximum security prison. The bridges are mined. The rivers are patrolled. And the United States Police Force has everything under control.
I've always felt like Arkham City had a lot in common with Escape from New York, and the more I think about it, the more obvious it feels. Both worlds have this cracked, decaying energy. In my opinion, they come from the same place, that old school vision of urban hell where the walls feel like they're closing in and society is basically running on fumes. I can almost hear Carpenter's synth soundtrack humming underneath the snow and steel. The biggest connection for me is the idea of turning a city into a prison. It's such a wild concept, and both the movie and the game lean into it with everything they've got. You take a place that used to be full of life and you lock it down. You cut it off, you let the worst parts of humanity take over.
Strange has been removing anyone with evidence against him and sending them into Arkham City. Enjoy your legacy.
I don't give a fuck about your war. Or
your president.
Why should I care?
Because now there's a teeny little bit of me in you too, Bats. Oh, come on!
If he climbs over the wall, they'll blow him off. If he tries to fly over the river, they'll shoot him down. If he comes back alone, they'll explode his brain. New York, 1997. One man has 24 hours to break in and break out before it's too late for escape. John Carpenter's Escape from New York.
What always stands out to me is how Arkham City feels like it's falling apart in slow motion. Buildings look ready to collapse, signs flicker for too long before shutting off, fires burn low, barely giving off light. Everything feels like it has history, and most of that history isn't good. The atmosphere doesn't push the darkness in your face, it lets you soak it in, and before you know it, you've started treating every corner like it might hide something that wants you dead. That's why I think people underestimate how horror-inspired the game is. It's not scary in the classic sense or the same way a Resident Evil game might be. It's in the way the world feels abandoned while still being full of danger. The way enemies whisper to each other when they think they're alone. It's in the way the snow absorbs sound, making every footstep feel heavier. Whenever I replay it, I always end up moving slower than I expect, like I'm walking through a place that remembers every bad thing that ever happened inside. Batman Arkham City has always felt like the kind of game you remember the same way you remember an old VHS tape you played too much. The colors bleed a little bit in your memory, the edges blur, and the whole thing sits under this cold layer of incredible atmosphere. I've always liked how Batman moves through the city. He doesn't glide around like a hero saving the day. He moves like a predator. Everyone is afraid of him because when Batman appears, your bones get broken and your face smashed into concrete. He's an urban myth who stalks the city and leaves a trail of blood and fear.
Two-Face put him on a big...
You can have him, Batman. Now what do I need to brick?
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
What I love is how the game never tries to convince you that anything will get better. Even when you're winning fights and clearing out zones, the city never feels like it's loosening its grip. If anything, it feels heavier and more haunted. And at the same time, there's something comforting about it. I think that's where the nostalgia kicks in for me. Arkham City feels like one of those darker movies and shows from the late 80s and early 90s. It's got that same VHS flavor, snow, neon crime, and a hero who never rests until his work is done.
Batman on video cassette. The gift you want to give. The gift they want to get. Specially priced at stores everywhere.